All right, let's do some factoring together. We're only going to do the one with one variable, not ones that have two variables. So how do I factor? What do I look for first? So first I'm looking for, is there a common factor? Is there a number that goes into 2 and 128? That number's 2. And they both have at least one x. So the greatest common factor is 2x. And then I divide to see what's left. So 2 divided by 2 and x cubed divided by x. And recognize when I go 2x times x squared, it has to match. Then I'm going to subtract, and then we're going to divide again. Half of 128, and the x's cross out. And again, if you distribute, it should equal what it was before. Now what's left is called a difference of squares. So we're going to square root each one. So the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 64 is 8. So we end up with x plus 8 and x minus 8. And then it's fully factored. So number 2, same thing. What do they all have in common? So 6 goes into each one, and x. So that's the greatest common factor. Divide. That's 4x squared. That's 3x. And minus 1. Now I recognize it as a trinomial, but the first number is not 1. So we have to do this in 2 steps. So the first number times the last number, and then positive 3. And then find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add to 3. So I'm going to write that out. So I'm going to go x plus 4 and x minus 1. Then I'm going to take that leading number, that a value 4, and I'm going to divide both numbers by 4. Now, if they divide, like 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 divided by 4 is a fraction. It's in lowest terms. So the denominator slides in front and makes it 4x minus 1. And now it's completely factored. So 3 and 4 are multivariables. So I'm going to skip those. Number 5, a trinomial, one variable. Recognize there's no number that goes into all of them evenly. So it's ready to go. No greatest common factor. The first number times the last number. And then what 2 numbers fit here to go? So 36, you have 6 times 6 and 12 times 3, 9 times 4, 18 times 2. What am I not thinking here? I know there's an obvious one. So sometimes you can't think it out. I'm going to just go one at a time until, well, it's that one, 3 and 12. I already said it, right? Because that makes 9. So 12 needs to be negative and 3 is positive. I was just overthinking it. So you have y minus 12 and y plus 3. And then take that first number and divide each number. So if it divides, like 12 divided by 2, that's great. 3 divided by 2 doesn't divide. It's in lowest terms, so that 2 slides in front, and that's 2y plus 3, and it's factored. Again, 6 is multivariable, 7 is multivariable. Let's look at 8. So what number goes into all of them evenly? 3. So we're going to divide 3 and see what's left over after that. Then what 2 numbers multiply to 1 and add to negative 2? So we find the 2 numbers that match. There isn't a number in front to divide by, so there's my answer. If a factor repeats, we can write that repeated factor and square it. Again, 9 is multivariable, so is 10. Turn the page. This one's not. So we factor out a common factor, which is 16 in q. And when you divide, you're left with q squared. 48 divided by 16 is 3. 32 divided by 16 is 2. And then what 2 numbers multiply to 2 and add to negative 3? So negative 1 times negative 2 fit. So you have q minus 1 and q minus 2. Nothing to divide because there's no number in front of q squared. Again, we're going to factor out. So this is x and leaves us with x to the 4th minus 1. This is called a difference of squares. So we're going to square root, and we're going to square root. Oh, there it is. So square root each one. So that gives me x squared minus 1 and x squared plus 1. So this is still factorable. So the square root of x squared and the square root of 1. So we have 13x, we have x plus 1, x minus 1, and x squared plus 1. Look at all those beautiful factors. So sometimes you have to do it more than once. This one's far simpler. So number 13, just 2 numbers that multiply to 81, and the same 2 numbers add to 18. So that's 9 and 9. If they repeat, you can just write it squared. When we have 3, we're going to factor out a common factor of the first two only. So the first two have a 4x squared as a greatest common factor. And then you divide, and you're left with x plus 5. We're going to factor out a negative 9. And again, we're going to divide and have x plus 5. So one factor is x plus 5. And then what's left is 4x squared minus 9. Now that's called a difference of squares. You can square root 4x squared and square root 9. So that's 2x and 3. So one factor is 2x plus 3, and the other factor is 2x subtract 3. Multivariable. This one's good. Factor out of 4. No, you can't factor 2. Factor out of 2m. That's 2m squared. 10 divided by 2 is 5m. 84 divided by 2, that's 42. And then factor that. So 2 times 42 is 84 and 5. And think, what two numbers are going to fit there? 84. 1 times 84, 2 times 48. None of those are working. 4 times 21. Nope. There's another one that could go in there. 12 goes in times 7. That's a good one, right? Because 12 times 7 is 84. So positive 5. So positive 12 and negative 7. So we're going to write 2m. And then we have 12m. Sorry, we have m plus 12, right? And m minus 7. And then divide by 2. So that gives me 2m, m plus 6, and then slide the 2 in front, and you have 2m minus 7, and it's completely factored. All right, number 17 is a difference of squares. So when you square root an exponent, you just divide it by 2. And the square root of 1 is 1. So we have one that is 9y squared plus 1 and 9y squared minus 1. We can do it again. So we're going to square root 9y squared and square root 1. So our final answer is going to be, notice the adding is not a difference of squares, only the subtracting one. So we have 3y subtract 1 and 3y plus 1, so that it's completely factored. When you have 4 terms, we're going to look at the first 2 and factor out what they have in common, which is x squared. The last 2, the only thing they have in common is negative 1. So I'm going to divide out a negative 1 so these match. So they have the matching factor and then what's left in front of each. Now that again is a difference of squares. So the square root of x squared is x and the square root of 1 is 1. So we're going to go x plus 1, x minus 1, and it's completely factored. 19 is multivariable, and here's our last one. So it's in lowest terms. 4 does not go into 25 evenly. So 4 times 25 is 100, and negative 10. So the two numbers that multiply to 100 and add to negative 20 or negative 10 and negative 10, a repeated factor. So that's x minus 10. Divide by that first number 4. Now, this has to be reduced down. So for this to work, what number goes into 10 and 4? Divide by 2. And then slide it in front. So if we slide this in front, the end answer is 2x subtract 5 squared. I know I went fast, but if you need to press pause and go back, you can. Anyways, Mr. G Math over and out. I'm proud of you. Proud of you for doing your homework. Until next time.